So let's go to let's first go to let's open up with Colossians 3:17. All right, Colossians 3:17. All right, let's see what we're doing out here, right? Let's see what we're doing out here, right? And remember, make sure you guys, listen. Everybody has a pen and paper. Try to write these things down. You don't gotta write everything down. Right? But if you got questions, make sure you ask them. It goes for the young children. All right, if you got a question, ask them. We're here to provide understanding for the children of Israel. That's our purpose for Sabbath day. So we can go into depth with these things. Like I say, we might not know everything, but we know where to find the answers. Right? That's a big deal. So make sure you guys are asking questions. Get your highlighters out. Make sure you have your pens out. This is how you keep the law or the statutes and commandments within you. Remember, one of the things that the kings had. What is one of the things the kings had to do to remember the commandments? Right? They had to write the entire book of the Torah. Okay, so just imagine that the first 5 books, he had to handwrite this on a piece of paper. So what? Writing is a big part of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments within you. That means you don't pass over nothing when you write it down, right? Things stick a lot harder when you write these things down, so make sure you have these things, right? So let's open up Colossians 3:18, 3:17. Stay calm when you got it. All right? We're going to go over to just a brief amount of scripture, not too deep because we got a deep portion we're going to get into today, right? So let's go to Colossians 3:17. Everybody can hear me well? I got to use my outside voice? Might have to use that. Calm. I'll praise it. All right, so we're going to go to Colossians 3:17. Stay calm when you got it. I'll praise it. All right? So go ahead and bring that out, Cap.
This is the book of Colossians Chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed,
right,
do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the power and the Father by him.
Right, we do we're unprofitable service for the Most High, right? Everything we do is for the glory of the Most High. We receive our honor and glory, right, and our reward from the Most High, right? We obey God rather than men, right? So let's go over a couple things on why we're out here and what we're doing here, because everything that we're doing here is spiritual, right? Let's go to Ezekiel 11, right? Go to Ezekiel 11 right quick. All right, go to Ezekiel 11 and verse 16, right? Because the Most High have us here for a reason, right? Everything is ordained off of the Most High's time. Right? Everything is predicated off the Most High's time, right? We can have our own plan, but the Most High ultimately he guides our steps, right? He puts the plan in fruition. He lets us know when we're ready, right? So let's go to Ezekiel 11 and 16.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 11 and verse 16.
Right?
Therefore say, thus saith the Lord God,
right?
Although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary.
What?
A little sanctuary.
This is our little sanctuary. Keep going.
In the countries where they shall come.
Right. So we're fulfilling that right now, right? We're that little sanctuary, right? We understand that the body of people. We're having church right now. We understand that, right? A church is not a building; it's the body of people, right? We understand that, right? The church is the body of people, right? So let's go to a couple things. Let's go to Proverbs 29, right? Let's go to Proverbs 29, right? So let me ask you, right? What's the vision, right? Are we trying to be out here forever? Right? What's the vision? To get a score, right? Let's get that, right? Let's get Proverbs 29, verse 18.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, and verse 18.
Stay calm when you got it. Proverbs 29, verse 18. Right? Right?
Verse 18.
Calm.
Where there is no vision.
Where there is no what?
Where there is no vision, the people perish.
Right? We can't have the people perish. But now, what's the result of what you need? Proverbs 29 and 18. Right? So what's the result of not having a vision? The people perish, right? We're going to start losing our loyal members, right? They're not, how long are we going to be out here again? Right? What's the breakdown? Right? We're not trying to be out here forever, right? Keep going.
Right. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law,
right?
Happy is he.
Happy is he, right? Let's go to Habakkuk 2 and 2, right? Habakkuk 2 and 2. Just a couple of brief scriptures on why we are here, right? The Most High setting us up to have that little sanctuary, right? But we also have to have the vision so we can have that school, right? That's the vision, is to get that school. So let's get that Habakkuk. All right, let me get there. All right, Habakkuk 2 and 2. All right, stay calm when you got it. All right. All right. Go ahead, bring that up.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2. And the Lord answered me,
right,
and said,
what?
Write the vision.
What?
Write the vision.
No, just keep it in your mind.
Write the vision.
You have to write the vision, right? Keep going.
And make it plain.
And
make it plain,
right,
upon tape,
right,
that he may run that readeth
right.
it.
We have to have the vision and write the vision, right? We have to sit down and break that down, right? And write the vision. Keep going.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time.
That's a powerful thing. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Somebody break that down to me. Right? What is that appointed time talking about? It's on the Most High's time. That word appointed is an appointment, right? Keep going.
But at the end, it shall speak.
It shall speak, right? Keep going.
And not lie. Though it tarry.
Right.
Wait for it.
What?
Wait
and
for it.
And that's the patience we need to have. We have to wait for it. Right? Keep going.
Because it will surely come.
It will what?
It will surely
come. It will surely come, but we have to wait for it, write the vision. Right? Keep going.
It will not tarry.
Right? Let's go to Luke 14 and 28. Right? Con, what you got? It's a time for everything. Con, it's the appointed time. Con, let's get Luke 14 and 28. All right, Luke 14 and 28. Right, and anything that we do, not just even getting to school, and what we do with our lives as well. If you have a plan, you have to write it down. Right, having a calendar, right, having your notes, writing these things down is powerful, man. When you write something down, you hold yourself accountable. I said 6 months ago, I'm gonna start going to the gym. Right, I wrote that in my notes. Right. A vision board, it's a vision board. If you don't have a vision board, then it's just in your mind at that point, right? Get a notebook. If you don't have the vision board, get a notebook. Say, okay, write it down. It's important. Now you can hold yourself accountable, right? Let's go to Luke 14 and 28.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 14 and verse 28.
We're gonna break this verse down slow, right?
For which of you intending to build a tower?
Pause right there. Are we intending to build a tower? Right? We're intending to build a school, right? To build our congregation, right? For the nation, right? Which of you intending to, what is that word intending? What are we intending to do, right? That's what we're doing right now. We're intending to build a school. Keep going.
Sitteth not down
Does
first.
Not what?
Sitteth not down first.
Break that down. You got to sit down. You got to sit down.
You got to take a second
and
sit down.
Right.
This is true wisdom, right?
Right.
With anything you're trying to accomplish in life, anything that takes a big load of your energy towards, right? You have to sit down and actually, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Right.
Next step going to be this.
Right.
I'm going to see how much time this is going to take,
right.
how much this is going to cost. This is wisdom that we're talking about.
Right.
This is Christ giving us true wisdom.
Okay.
Which one of you intend to build a tower and sit it not down first? Not thinking about it when you're driving in your car. Not at work, you putting away something on the shelf.
Right.
I'm going to build that.
Right.
No.
Right.
Sit down, take some time, and write this thing down, man. Right? This is what you call true wisdom.
It makes me think of there's a couple of those movies. Think of like an artist, right? He's trying to sketch out something. Right. You see a bunch of like crumbled up papers all around, right? That's you sitting down trying to break down the vision. Oh, I can't do that. Damn, I got to throw it out, right? And don't get me wrong, it's the thing about writing down a vision. When you write it, it doesn't mean it's always in stone. Sometimes you got to tweak it a little bit. You got to fine tune it a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna do this in 6 months. Something might come up, right? But the thing is, you have the vision. Right? If you have the vision, then it will surely come, like Rebecca said, right? As long as you write it down and break it down, so you know exactly what your goal is, right? You know exactly what your mission is, right? So read that part again, right?
Luke. This is the book of Luke, chapter 14, verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower,
right,
sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost?
And does what?
And counteth the cost.
Somebody break that down to me. What does counteth the cost mean? Right?
Weighing out the possibilities.
You got to weigh out the possibilities, right? What you got, Ken? You weighing out the possibilities, right? You got to see. It's like when you in management, right? The profit and loss statement, right? You got to see what's going on. Okay, you got your sales, you got your labor. Is my sales gonna match up with my labor? You got to count the cost,
right? Like big organizations or corporations, they do this right here, right before they make any type of investment or move. They sit down, they get their people together in a big room. They writing this down. They doing all the math. Okay, if we do this, what's the possibility of this happening? If we lose our money, how do we get this back? This is what you call counting the cost, right? How much energy or how much money is it going to take for me to actually build this thing? Because money's not your only objective that you got to count. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about the time you got to put in. You got to think about the energy you have to expend to make this thing happen. Right. Because if we just just for me and you, for the soldiers, if we just sitting back and we ain't doing nothing, this school never gonna get built. Right. It's gonna take different moves from different people, right? You can't expect one person to make all of these things come together. Right. If everybody takes their office and we put these things together, this thing can be built. But we got to sit down together and count the cost.
That's a powerful point. Remember we brought out last Shabbat about this is a business, man. right? You got to have everybody in their office, right, to make the continue to have the business operate, right? Right, the business operations, right? We got to sit down and count the cost. Okay, what do we need, right? We're gonna have to need this. We have to need that. That's the thing, man. We got to count the cost. Keep going.
Sit not down first and count the cost. Whether he have sufficient to finish it.
What is that? You got to have enough, right? They say if you don't prepare to fail,
proper preparation prevents failure.
Right, con. If you know what I mean. If you con, I got you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Con. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right? That's game. That's game that's already been written. Wisdom, right? Man. That's true wisdom. Now Yahushua was given, right? We have to have what's sufficient enough. Right? What's the sufficiency, right? You gotta be sufficient. Right? If you look at that word sufficient as adequate, enough, abundance, right? Keep going.
Lest happily, after he has laid the foundation,
what?
After he has laid the foundation.
Now we can write the vision, we can count the cost, and then we can lay the foundation down, say, okay, we got the game plan. This is the playbook right here. After we lay the foundation, what happens next?
And is not able to finish
He's not what?
And is not able to finish
So we did all that preparation, that laying down the foundation, and he's still not able to finish it. What's going to happen? Con.
All that behold it begin to mock
him. That boy's coming back to headquarters. Right? That boys couldn't do it. Right? We got to go ahead.
Go ahead.
We had a task and we couldn't finish it. We laid the foundation. We had the foundation laid. Right? We have the foundation laid. Now we have to execute it. Right? On the Most High's timing, but we have to follow through, man. We can sit down, write it down, but we have to finish it. They say you don't start nothing you can't finish, right? You got to finish it. All right, go ahead, Kat.
So, and yeah, real quick. So, if anybody understands what it takes to build a house, what is the first thing you have to do when you build a house? That foundation. If you don't build it on solid foundation, that house is gonna fall. So the first thing you do, you take the trees out, you take the roots out, you take the rocks out, and you set that land flat. And you make sure it's compacted down, right? Because when you start putting those bricks and things, you want to make sure it stands up. But what is it saying? You know, you got the foundation. We did the work. We pulled the roots up. We pulled the rocks. We compacted it down. Now we don't got enough to put the bricks on the house. Now we don't got enough to put the roof on the house. So when they see this half built, people are gonna be walking by. They're gonna be like, "These brothers are retarded." Right. Excuse my language, but you brothers ain't got it together, man. Your bread is not done. Right? You didn't think about this 2 years ago when you started putting that foundation down. Right? So these are things we got to think about. This is all true wisdom coming out of the Bible. Right?
You can finish up in verse 30.
Verse 30.
Right.
Saying, this man began to build.
Saying what?
This man began to build.
This man began to build. He wanted the school, right? This man began to build and what?
And was not able to finish.
And was what?
And was not able to finish.
And that's the fact. Right? We can't be mad about it. That's the truth. And this is what Yahushua is saying, right? Yahushua is saying if you don't follow through what you're doing, people are going to laugh. They're going to mock you. Right? Yahushua already gave us game on that. Right? So let's go to Luke 17:5. Right? Let's go to Luke 17:5. When it gets hard, right? When it gets cold out here, right? When it starts raining out here, right? When the mosquitoes start coming out, right?
We're going to see who's real.
We're going to see who's real. Right? You're going to have to ask Yahushua to do this one thing right here. Luke 17:5.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 5. And the apostle said unto the Lord, increase our faith.
Do what?
Increase our faith.
So when it comes down to it, we got to ask the Most High to increase our faith. Right? Luke 17:5. Right? When it gets rough out here, we got to ask the Most High to increase our faith. And we have to trust in Him at all times. Right? Let's go to Psalm 62:8.
Real quick, what is faith?
Come on, bring that out. What a precept. What a precept.
Right.
Bring it out. Let's go.
Let's get that.
Right.
Let's talk about what is faith according to the scripture.
Right.
But these are things we got to know.
Right.
Hebrews 11 and verse 1. Alright? This is what faith is. Put a star next to it, put an asterisk, highlight it, put a sword next to it. This is what faith is according to the Bible. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for.
Are we hoping for something? Right? Keep going.
The evidence of things not seen.
Right? That's faith, man. It's the evidence of things not seen. The substance of things that's hoped for. Right? That's what faith is, man. down. Go good.
For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the world were framed by the word of God.
Right.
So that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Right?
So we understand. Let's do that.
Right. So what does that mean? Things that were made of things that don't appear. Right? It was made from what you call metaphysical level.
Right.
That's what science calls metaphysics. Right? It was made from something you can't see. When you made this table is made of things, small things that you can't see according to the naked eye. Right? So that's what it's talking about. Right? When we talk about faith is the thing we can't see, but we know it's there. Right? We know the wind is blowing. We feel it,
right,
but you can't see it. You can't see the wind, but you can feel it rubbing against your skin. It's one of the things. That's how we know that the Most High is real. We can't see the Most High, but by His creation, we know that the Most High is real. Matter of fact, let's get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 13, verse 1, real quick. We'll get back on. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 13 and verse 1, right? By looking at His creation, man, you should know that God is real. You should know that the Most High and His angels are here in the earth, man. Right? Read that.
This book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1. Surely vain are all men by nature.
Surely vain are all men by nature. Read on.
Who are ignorant of God.
You ignorant of God. You meaning you don't know better, man. Just be having a simple mind. You what you call a simple Negro, man. Read on.
And could not out of the good things that are seen know Him that is.
Right.
Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster.
You can't look at the clouds in the sky and know that God is real. You can't look at the birds that fly in the sky. When you sit there and look at an ant pile, man. When you look how intricate an ant works with other ants, and they build that mound, man, and they build it into the ground, intricate, right? When you look at these things, you know that God has to be real. These things didn't just collide out of nowhere. Two big balls in the sky didn't collide, and then all of these things were created. We know that God made these things, right? Read on that.
Cons. Did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of the stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world?
That's the wind God right there.
Right.
That's the earth God. That's the water God right there.
Right.
No, the Most High created all of these things, man. He created these things by His word. Right. By the breath of life, He created these things, man.
They worship the creature more than the creator.
Right. Keep reading verse 3,
Con. With whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be God.
You look at the beautiful works of the Most High. You took that to be the God itself, but somebody created that, man. Somebody created the sun. Look how magnificent the sun is. It's something that is greater than the sun in this earth. Right? Read on.
Con. Let them know how much better the Lord of them is.
Right? Let them know that God is much greater than the ocean, man. When you look at the ocean is a magnificent thing when you sit there and look at it. If you go to the beach and you just look at it, man. When you look deep into the sky, you can look so you can't look no more. You can't see past the sky. Right? But you know that you have to tell people that the man who created that is greater than the things that He created. Right? Read on.
Much better the Lord of them is. For the first author of beauty has created them.
First author of beauty has created them. Keep reading.
But if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier He is that made them.
So if you're astonished by the works of the sun, come on, man. How much mightier is the works of the Lord?
That's fire.
Or the Lord Himself is. Right? The Lord is much greater than the sun itself, the moon itself, the ocean, the bird, the bees, the flies, right? All of these things, He's greater than them, right? So you can drop that, right? So that just goes into showing you that. Let's look at that, right? That just goes to show you how great the Most High is. For somebody to say that God ain't real, you gotta be a fool, man. You gotta be a fool. Anybody that studies anatomy and physiology, when you understand how great the human body is, right? When you talk about the bones, when you talk about if you scratch yourself right now, your skin just magically just start healing itself, man. God created this. How your bone, if you break a bone right now, it takes what, 4 to 6 weeks to heal? Or it may take 3 months, 4 months, whatever the case might be. You sprain something, your body can heal itself. God created these things that he gave us, right? So if our body can do these amazing things, how much greater is the Most High, man? Right? We always got to keep this in mind. We got to think about these things, the little things that we pass over every day. The Most High created those things, right?
The book of John, chapter 3, verse 12. If I have told you earthly things,
if he told us earthly things, man, read on.
And ye believe not.
St. John
3 and 12.
St. John 3 and 12. So read what you got.
This book of John, chapter 3, verse 12. If I have told you earthly things.
If the Most High told you earthly things, he told you the things that operate in this earth, right? Wisdom of Solomon, it says that he knows how the elements of the earth work. We know how the elements work, man, right? That he could use the spirits of beasts and things of that nature to what? Kill people. We know how the operations of elements work, right? Read on.
And ye believe not.
And you don't believe on these things that are here down here. Read on.
How shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things?
I want to know what's in the third heaven.
Right.
Brother, I want to know what's in the third heaven. There got to be a fourth heaven if it's a third, right? These are things that people you want to drink the meat and all of these things. He's telling you the small things that you can't comprehend. Right? Do I gotta wear my fringes? Right? Do I gotta wear my fringes? Is fringes really a law?
Right.
He's telling you small things like this to keep on the earth. You can't even comprehend those things.
Right,
what makes you think you're gonna believe what's in the third heaven? Right. Because these things that God created, it's beyond our comprehension. Right? Exactly. You're going to lose your mind, right? Right? You're going to lose your mind. Right? So these are things we got to make sure we understand. Right? What's that scripture we were just reading last night about Paul when he said he
was in the third heaven?
He said, I can't really go into what I told, what I seen. Right?
The scripture say if he said that, the Most High would have put the staff on him. Basically put the staff on him. Right? And it's crazy because the reason, and another powerful thing that Paul brought out is that the fact that he was even exposed to seeing that knows that if he said something about it, people would look at him as like, oh, he's second. Like they would exalt him like he's God. He's above Christ. Oh, he's seen that? This man now you're really deifying Paul, right? Because he's seen something that nobody else seen. That's why when he goes to the verse, it says that he didn't want to be conceited, so the Most High put a thorn in his flesh. It's kind of like every time you're about to say something, he starts stabbing you. Don't say that, right? Because you're going to be exalted, right?
Even the Grecians called him Apollo.
Right, Apollo, come on.
Right. So, and we could learn a great lesson, not to go on a tangent, but we could learn a great lesson from what Paul did. Because even when you read the 1 Corinthians chapter 15, it talks about how Paul wanted to stay in the spirit of meekness. Right? Scriptures talk about esteeming your brother or your sister to be greater than yourself. These are things that we have to practice in this truth. Right? We got to think of ourselves as lower than our brother. We got to esteem ourselves lower than the next man. I don't care how great you are in this truth. Paul was the Hebrew of Hebrews. He said that he did great, abundant work in this truth, and he still esteemed himself lower than his brothers. Brothers that you bring in this truth. Nah, man, just like what Shalom was bringing out at Tabernacle. You know, he calling out brothers, and he say, look, man, I've been in this truth. Shalom did great work in this truth. And what do he say? He say, man, listen, you brothers are greater than me. That's a spirit of humbleness, a spirit of meekness. That's how we all need to be as true soldiers of the Most High. Not thinking that we got it all together. Not thinking that we up here. I don't care how much work you put in this truth, right? You got to esteem yourself as lower than the next man. That keeps you humble so you don't puff this up yourself. Because you see what happens. We've seen brothers puff up themselves, and what happens? Most I get rid of them boys, right? Because you got all, you could break it down from Genesis to Revelation. You say, nah, I'm better than this brother. Right. I'm the best camp teacher in Israel. Right. And what the Most High going to do? You out of there. Now you by yourself. Right? Now you're going to be teaching in your living room by yourself. Right? Teaching nobody. The Most High ain't got time for that. So we got to make sure we have a spirit of meekness and a spirit of humbleness in this truth. Don't puff up yourself thinking you're the greatest and baddest, man. The Most High will take you out. Everybody understand that, right?
I'll praise it. Let's go to Mark 11 and 22. Beautiful precepts. My highlight every time I see it.
Right, that goes for everybody on the live too, man. Take out your highlighters, your pens, your paper, and write these things down. Write these precepts down. Because don't wait until you get into a battle with somebody. When you go to the Christmas function, now your auntie gonna ask you, why are you a Hebrew Israelite? Right. And you don't got no priest, so now you want to call up, let me call Captain Sadat, let me see what he got to say. No, we went through this, brother. Right. We went through this a long time ago. You should have been writing this stuff down.
Give me the breakdown, brother.
Give me the breakdown.
Right.
No, it's
nothing. Right. It's nothing you joined. You already was. You already are an Israelite. Right. They're trying to join something that we got going on. We're not joining us. We already been it. You know what I'm saying?
And let me add on to that real quick. Not to go back, but when we read Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2, remember what it says? It says, write them down in a vision or on the table, so he or her that readeth it, so they can run.
Right.
The thing about Hebrews, right? You could come to class for like 3 months, and you will run circles around somebody that's been in the church for 20 years. Why is that, right? But we got to make sure we're doing our due diligence when we come in these classes. Write your precepts down. You don't got to know. You don't have to know the breakdown of Leviathan. You don't got to know that. Right. All you need to know is Deuteronomy chapter 28, 1 John 5. How do you love God? Keeping the commandments. The Israelites went into slavery. All you got to know is how to prove the milky thing, and they will be confounded in their spirit. Right. Oh, he got a point. And the first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna try to bring you somewhere else in the Bible. Right. You're gonna break down everything they bring to you. You're gonna keep breaking it down. Right. Just that right. They want to bring up everything. Right.
Right. That's right.
Right.
Right. That's right.
Right. But you know, as a servant of the Lord, I mean, even our women, our children, we have to talk to our friends. Like, we can't just give up on them. We got to be that light to them. So scriptures tell you, watch the time that you keep with sinners. They don't got to be in the truth for you to be around them, but watch the time you keep. Let your light rub off on them. Don't let them rub off on you. You understand? Because I've seen people in this truth or dealt with this truth. They'll rebel for 2-3 years, and all of a sudden a light bulb just clicked, and now they come into the class. Now they friends up. Now they got their head wrapped on. I'm like, man, you was blaspheming the Lord like last year. Now look at you. Right?
I was gonna bring out.
That what? No, right. There you go. It's good. Right, what's the precept you had? And we'll get to do it. Luke 5 and 32. I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but this is good stuff that we need to know. You know what I mean?
It's 31.
Let's get that.
This book of Luke chapter 5 verse 31. And Yahushua answering said unto them, they that are whole need not a physician.
So them that are whole, we would be considered a whole. We don't need the physician. We're already here. Right? The Most High has given us the knowledge, the understanding. Right? Read on.
But they that are sick.
Right? Read on.
I came not to call the righteous.
I didn't come to call the righteous. If we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, we are practicing righteousness. Right? We already there. Right? But read on.
But sinners.
But who?
But sinners to repentance.
How can we call the sinners to repentance if we don't sit with these people? If we don't talk to them? These are people we got to talk to. You got to break them down one by one. You got to show them by example why you keep the commandments. Because a lot of times what happens, they start going through certain things, right? And your job when you come in is to pinpoint in the scriptures why these things are happening. A lot of the children of Israel, they begin whooping, don't understand that they're getting a whooping. They going through this, going through that, right? They're not guns. They don't understand why they're getting a whooping. And you have to explain to them, this is why you're being whooped. This is why you keep going through these things. This is not a coincidence. It's like a black cloud over your head. Why are you going through this? Because the Lord said He's going to continue punishing you until you get it together. Right? So these are things we could be around them, but Scripture say, watch the time that you keep. Keep wisdom when you go around this. Right? And another thing, not to go off on a tangent again. Don't fall in front of these people. When you're trying to teach somebody, make sure you're on point in front of these people. Make sure your fringe is on. Don't eat no bacon bits. I'm gonna take a little piece. Don't smoke with. I'm telling you, because you know what's gonna happen. They're gonna pull that up and throw it right in your face when you try to bring out the scripture. Next week when you like, hey, well, you know we gotta keep Deuteronomy chapter 28. They're gonna like, wasn't you just smoking with me last week? Right. I see you eating pepperoni at the pepperoni shop down the street, and now you're trying to tell me not to eat pork. We can't do that. Because they're going to look at you as a hypocrite. So we got to make sure our light is shining at all times in front of our friends, our family, the people that hang around us. All right? So these are things we got to practice. Man, all right?
John,
go back to what you had.
Mark 11 and 22. That's my last precept. All right, Mark 11. This verse applies to just everything, man. When it comes to what we're doing, trying to get to school, right, and then just in general in life, man, right? Let's get Mark 11 and 22. Say calm when you got it.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 11 and verse 22. And Yahweh answering says unto them, have faith in the Most High.
Have what?
Have faith in the Most High.
Playing on tables, man. We got to have faith in the Most High, man. You know, that's straight up and down. Right? So that's all I wanted to bring out, man. We just have to continue to ask the Most High to increase our faith, make sure that our faith is put on that foundation that's stood upon a rock and not on sand. Right?
I understand that, right? So today's portion, we're going to jump into the portion real quick. The portion is pretty long. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and to Genesis chapter 6 and verse 8. Now, anybody that knows Genesis is a very meaty breakdown. Right? When you look at pictures that the so-called white man puts in the Bible and things, they try to make it look like a crazy story. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it says it is. But a lot of these things are similar to it. Man.
Right.
It's a representation of something else, and this is why you got to learn how to match the scriptures up. Right? Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Right? And we're going to break down some of these things. Right? So if you have questions, make sure you ask them.
We're going to give dissent. Most High willing to the Spirit.
Most High willing to the Spirit.
We're going to give dissent. All right, so we're going to start at Genesis 1 and 1. All right, now, let us know if we're going too fast with the precepts. You got, it's a lot of things that, if you read it too fast, you will get lost in the sauce. So you gotta make sure you're taking your time reading it, all right? Because then, all right, you'll get lost. You'll get lost in there, all right?
All right, real quick before we get started, what does Genesis mean? The word Genesis, beginning. All right.
What's the word in Hebrew?
What is it? Bereshit. So we know that this is the beginning. It's starting the creation of time, the creation of the Most High, the beginning of creation. Very simple. Genesis, right?
Let's get into it. Let's get started. All right, Khan. Bereshit. All right, Bereshit.
Stuff these things out.
All right. So
Genesis 6 and verse 8. To everybody online, if you haven't liked this video, please make sure you like it, give it a thumbs up,
share,
subscribe, share, please.
Turn on post notifications.
If you got questions in the chat, put your questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer the questions. Right?
So I guess I'll tackle this one. We'll go back and forth. Khan. So let's start at verse 1. Genesis 1 and 1.
Khan, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 1. In the beginning.
In the what?
In the beginning.
So now we got to pause already right there, right? We got to stop right there. Now this beginning, I don't want to jump too far, but whose beginning is this? Is this God's beginning? Why not? He was already here. Yahweh, He the Ancient of Days. He's not predicated. He's not subject to time, right? This is not his beginning. This is the beginning of creation, right? Right. His name Yahweh just means he exists. His name literally means he exists, right? Yeah, right. So in the beginning, now when you look up that word beginning in the Hebrew, that's the chief part, right? The chief part, right? In the beginning, right? Go ahead.
In the beginning, God.
Pause right there. What's the word again? In
God,
the beginning,
Elohim.
And the beginning, Elohim. Now, for my scholars out here, what does Elohim mean? God, right? Elohim. Right? God is plural, right? Angels, divine ones, rulers, right? Angels. So when you look at that word God, that's not talking about the Most High Yahweh, right? The angels are referred to as God, right? And they're also referred to as spirits, right? So when you see that word God, and we have to keep this in mind while we read Genesis 1, because you will get lost in the sauce if you don't have the understanding that that word God is plural. Dealing with multiple angels, multiple divine rulers, right? Are we still there? We have to, because we can't, if we don't have the understanding, everything else would not make sense. So in the beginning, God, that word God is plural, Elohim, right? Elohim dealing with the multitude of angels, right? The multitude of angels, right? We're good on that. We can continue, right? Keep going.
In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth.
They created the heaven and the earth, right? Keep going.
And the earth was without form.
The what?
The earth was without form.
Keep going.
And void.
So this is what we call formless matter, right? Somebody bring out, I don't know if somebody got their phone. Somebody bring out the definition of creationism. Right? Let's look at the word creationism. Right? Let's see what that word means. Right? Right? Let me ask, is somebody believing the Big Bang theory here? Right? Right? We believe, huh? Read that again, sis? That's right. Right? That's creationism, right? Specific acts of divine creation. That's beautiful, right? Right? So, you want to tackle this going or all right. Keep going.
Verse 2. And the earth was without form and void,
right?
And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God,
right,
moved upon the face of the water.
Now, what is this Spirit that's moving upon the face of the water? You got to break it down, right? You got to break it down. Let's go to Psalms 104, right? Let's go to Psalms 104 and 4. Now, remember the angels, right? I don't know if I did it, then I got to break it down.
No, you're good.
Yeah, how was already there, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So understand, we have to understand, the first understanding we have to have is that the word God in Hebrew means what? Elohim, correct? What does Elohim mean? Angels, right? The divine rulers. Multiple people, right? Elohim. Now, we understand that Yahweh was also there as well. Now, I'm going to also paint the picture. There's the Most High is the CEO. Yahweh, and Yahweh is the architect, and the angels are his workers. We understand that, right? They're the construction workers. I'm going to repeat this a couple times. I'm going to make sure it's ingrained in everybody's mind. The Most High Yahweh did not do any labor for the creation. He did no labor whatsoever. He did not move a finger. He had Yahweh and his angels do all the work. Right? He never had a clock in. He just gave the word. Divine utterance is the term. Divine utterance, right? So let's go to Psalms. Let's see what that Spirit is that's moving upon the waters. Right? Psalms 104 and 4.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 104 and verse 4. Who maketh his angels spirit.
His what?
His angels spirit. His ministers a flaming fire.
So his angels are what?
Spirit.
His angels are spirits. Let's go to Hebrews 1 and 7.
His angels serve as servants.
His angels serve as servants. Right? We still there, right? Right? So what are we breaking down right now? Just to make sure everybody, what are we breaking down right now in Genesis 2, verse 1, verse 2? The Most High gave no labor, but in Genesis 2, it talks about the Spirit that moved upon the waters, right?
Who was he using? Who was the Most High using?
The angels, right? So we're there, right? The Spirit that's moving upon the waters is the angels, the Elohim, right? Hebrews 1 and 7. Psalms 104 and 4. All right, let's go to Hebrews 1 and 7. All right, get a little bit more on that.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 1 and verse 7. And of the angels he said,
right?
Who maketh his angel spirit?
His what?
His angel spirit. And his ministers a flame of fire.
Right, so we understand that the angels are spirits, right? So those spirits that was moving upon the face of the water, we understand that Yahweh gave the word, right? And said, go ahead, act, right? Scale the premises, right? You got to kind of look at it like, okay, this is what we got going on. Okay, this is what we're working with, right? He was scaling the premises, right? So let's go back, right? Let's go back to John 1 and 2. Right? I mean Genesis 1 and 2. Genesis 1 and 2. So we there, right? We understand that, right? I didn't lose anybody yet. Right? Elohim is the God. The spirits are the angels, right? Khan, right? So let's go back. Let's keep going. 1 and 7, right? So then we're going back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Right? We're going to move.
The book of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 3. And the Most High said, or God said,
right?
Let there be light.
He said what?
Let there be light. And there was light.
Now we gotta keep that in mind. Okay, let there be light, and there was light. Now, okay, so we understand that light is not the sun, right? We're gonna prove it, but this light is not the sun, right? See this light outside? I see light over here, but it's not coming from the sun. There's its own light.
We're gonna prove
that. Okay, when we continue to read, right?
And God,
go ahead, kid.
And God saw the light,
right?
That it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
He divided the light from the darkness.
So at this point, you got light and you have darkness. He did not create the moon and the sun yet. He did not create the things in the heavens yet. He just has light, and then you have darkness, right?
I don't know if I have anything.
Son, verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Yeah, I'm gonna break that down.
Right, come.
Give me that. I think it's in John. I think it's John 14 or what the 12 hours in a day.
Let me get that here, come.
Because you have a doctrine out here that is teaching Hebrews that the Sabbath day only lasts for 12 hours, right? Which is impossible. The Sabbath day is for 24 hours. When does the Sabbath day start? Sundown. It does not start when the light is here and then the light is gone. No, it starts before the light gets there. It starts from evening unto evening. That is when the Sabbath is, right? And we're going to prove that real quick because there's a doctrine out here that's saying that, we only supposed to keep the Sabbath day for 12 hours. What y'all boys doing, right? Read what you got.
This is the book of John, chapter 11, verse 9. Yahushua answered, are there not 12 hours in the day?
Say that again?
Are there not 12 hours in the day?
So brothers will take this. They'll say, look, man, it's 12 hours in a day, right? When it says the Sabbath day, it only lasts for 12 hours. That's impossible. So let me read verse 5 again.
Right.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night.
Right.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
So if the evening and the morning were the first day, when it gets if the day starts at evening, we had to go back to evening, right? Because it's not evening to evening, it's evening, morning, then evening again. Right? So it's evening, the morning, then back to evening, that starts the next day. But what they're saying is that once we get from evening to morning, that's the day.
Right.
That's it.
No sense. So let me say, I'm not gonna pull the precept. I'm just gonna ask y'all, when did they start shutting the doors to the temple? When were the doors to the temple shut? Anybody know? All right. No one knows. All right. When would they shut everything down? When would they start preparing for the Sabbath? When do we start doing it? Right. On the day of preparation, they did it before it turned dark. Right before it turned dark, that's when they started preparing for the Sabbath. Because the Sabbath starts in the evening. Right. It starts during the nighttime. Right. So that's an impossible breakdown. Right.
So who has the Blue Letter Bible app? Right quick. Somebody give me Mark 15 and 42. Right quick in the Blue Letter Bible. Right. Somebody give me Mark 15 and 42 in the Blue Letter Bible. Right quick. All right. Give me Slucky, not Blue Letter Bible, Bible Hub. All right, Bible Hub, right? Let me get Mark 15 and 42, and let me get the NLT version. If you got it, let me know. Stay calm. Yeah, Mark 15 and 42. Let's read that, right? All right.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 15 and verse 40.
So we're going to read it in the KJV and look what the other translations break it down, right? Read that.
And now, when the even was come.
The even was come, the evening, right?
Because it was a preparation that is the day before the Sabbath.
The day before the Sabbath time, right? So there has to be a day when that evening comes, right? We're already going into the next day.
Yeah.
Right? Give me Mark 15 and 42 in the give me that in the NLT right quick.
Mark chapter 15 and verse 42. This all happened on Friday.
Right? On what?
On Friday.
On Friday, right?
The day of preparation. The day before the Sabbath.
Right?
As evening approached.
As what? As evening approached. Give me that in the ESV right quick. Right? Give me that Mark 15 and 42 in the ESV. If anybody's watching, we do comparative translation. Right? So we're looking at Mark 15 and 42 to see what that's going into. Right? The evening. Right? Starting the next day. Right? So bring that out.
And when evening had come.
Right?
Since it was the day of preparation.
The day of preparation, right?
That is the day before the Sabbath.
So once it's evening, we're going into the Sabbath. Right? It's very simple to understand. Right? Thursday evening. To Friday evening. Right? So exactly. Right? So So now I think you brought something out about the court. Yeah, Nehemiah, right?
Yeah, that's
Nehemiah 13 and 18. Yeah, Nehemiah 13 and 18. So let's go to Nehemiah 13 and 18, right? Let's look at what happens before evening, right? right? Because we understand once evening hits, that's going into the next day, right? Or that's beginning the next day, if I may say, right? That's beginning the next day. All right, is Nehemiah still in here?
Right, for real. I was looking for a minute. This is not it. That's not wait. This is talking about the Sabbath, but when before it came dark, yeah. Okay, con. All right. All right, so Nehemiah chapter 13, we'll start at verse 18.
I'll read it out.
Okay,
con. This book of Nehemiah chapter 13, verse start at 18.
Yeah.
Con. Did not your say con when you got it, Nehemiah 13 and 18. All right? Nehemiah 13 and 18. Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us,
right,
and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel.
How do they bring more wrath upon Israel?
By profaning the Sabbath.
By profaning the Sabbath. This is why I be so on point. I be so on top of Israel with this Sabbath day, man. This Sabbath day is extremely important. People be thinking like, I'm going to just chill at the crib and kick my feet up, man. You shouldn't be at the crib unless you're unclean. Right? Unless you're out of town or you far off and you got some things to do. I understand we're in captivity. But you got to make sure you're doing your best to be here. Read on.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark.
Read on.
Before the Sabbath.
Before it began to be dark. So we know that darkness is the beginning of the Sabbath.
Or, in other words, the evening is the beginning of the Sabbath.
Right. It's just that simple. And here's the thing. This is my problem I got with these babe Israelites that come into the truth. They get on YouTube, they learn a doctrine, they start pushing that doctrine, not knowing that what you're doing, you're destroying the children of Israel more than you're helping, man. Because now you're making them profane the Sabbath day. Because what? You didn't take time to learn. Listen, it takes a while to get in this truth and learn the scriptures properly. Right? You can't just come in this truth and think you're going to have all the breakdown. Stay for a while. Test the spirit by the spirit. Test scriptures against other scriptures and see if the doctrine is right first. Don't be so quick to get out here teaching, man. Right? Because if you read your Bible, they don't know all the precepts. When somebody just first hears about this, if I'm telling somebody, look, man, the Sabbath day is only 12 hours a day, I know what precepts to go to show them this. Right? But if you stay in this truth, you're going to find out, man, listen, this brother don't know what you're talking about. Right? So we got to make sure that this is why it's so important to push the real truth, man. Right? You can't be a babe in this truth and think you're going to become an elder, man. You want to be the top-notch Israelite.
Can't be more than one truth.
Right? Can't be more than one of the truth. You want to be like you want to be a priest of Bach in the truth, man.
Right.
You want to be a minister of Shalom. These brothers have 30 and 40 years in the truth. 20, 30, 40 years over you. Right? So it takes time to get there. Just like Mr. Shalom was bringing out. You got to go through the levels, man. There's levels to get there. When you talk about fasting, when you talk about praying to the Most High, having faith, going through trials and errors and experience, it takes levels to get there. You're not going to come in this thing and be a top-notch teacher, man. Right? So we got to make sure we understand that. Right?
Let's go to another one. Let's go to Luke chapter 23, verse 54. Right? Luke chapter 23, verse 54. All right?
Luke 23 and verse 54.
Let me see if I can get something in there.
Read it.
Let me just get there in the Greek real quick. I think I wanted something in there.
Luke 23 and verse 54. And that day was the preparation and the Sabbath drew on.
I mean, it's plain and simple, right? The day of preparation. You understand the day of preparation before the day of preparation? Well, after the day of preparation is the Sabbath, right? So as simple as that, right? So we understand this, right? The evening and the morning were the first day, right? So we get that, right?
And so, and just I don't know if I said this already. So evening, when you go into the Hebrew word for evening, evening means night. When you go into the Hebrew word for morning, morning means day, right? So it's just talking about that sunlight, right? The sunlight, the nighttime, that's one day, right? Everybody understand that, right? All right, let's move on.
Beautiful. Let's go back to
We only on verse 6. We've been here for 20 minutes.
Right, But the edification is going to go out, most I willing. Right,
Verse 6. And the Most High said, or God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
Right. So we got.
That's a deep breakdown in itself. Right. So think about it. It says in the waters, right? In the water. And what does he put in the midst of? What does the word midst mean? The middle. Right? So let's break it down. Verse 6, and God said, let there be a firmament. What is a firmament? It's like a globe, right? It's like a dome shape.
Now, everybody watched, I don't know if anybody watched the Simpsons movie, right? When they were in the Simpsons movie, when they were in that huge dome.
They're playing baseball, right?
Yeah, you remember that? That's kind of like what we're in, right? You can't float it. I'm not going to go there yet.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. So he took this globe, he took this dome, and put it in the middle of the waters. Think about this. No, it's all good. He put it in the middle of the waters, right? And let it divide the waters from the waters. So now you have water above, and you have water beneath.
Okay, let's prove that, right? Let's prove that water above. Let's go back to Psalm 104, verse 6. Let's prove this. There's water above us, right? Psalms 104, verse 6.
Psalms 104 and verse 6.
Right?
Science would explain it as the water from the earth reflecting off the sky.
That is the most.
So at night.
That's why the sky is.
When you come into the truth, you realize how many lies you heard in the school.
That doesn't even make any sense.
They said the sky is blue because it's reflecting
the water. So basically, it should be brown in certain places.
Exactly right.
How is it all blue? Right.
Some whales, some reflections, some whales coming out the sky.
Oh my God. All right, Psalm chapter 104, verse what?
Verse 6.
Verse 6. Thou coverest it with the deep, as with a garment. The water stood above the mountain.
The what?
The water stood above the mountain.
What does that mean, man? The water stood above the mountain. The water's so deep, right? We see the waters stood above the mountain, right? That means that above the mountains is water, right? Let's see if there's any more on that. Is it on that?
So think about it. We got that firmament in the middle of the waters at this point. We got water above and water below, right? Verse 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so.
Right? So we understand that, right? Right?
And Elohim called the firmament heaven. The evening and the morning were the second day.
Right? So we just broke down the second day just now, right? Now we're going into breaking down what day was. Now we're about to break down the third day. What?
Now, I was going to say about the time frame.
Come.
4,000 years stiff.
All right.
Well,
right.
Prove that.
We'll prove it.
Yeah, that boy spoke too fast.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you to prove it. You know you gotta pull a precept now. If you saying something in here, you gotta pull a precept. Especially the soldiers in the room.
No, let him bring it. If you need to throw the lob, you actually throw the lob.
Right. So what did he just say for everybody online? What did he say? He said that 1,000 years is equal to 1 day.
Right.
You understand that? Did you ever heard that? Right. So our 1 day for us is how long to the Most High?
1,000 years.
1,000 years. Right. Or a day to the Most High is 1,000 years for us. 1 day for the Most High is 1,000 years, and let's prove that. All right. Get the precept, Nathaniel. What is that?
2 Peter 3:8.
Come on, let's get that. Come on, let's prove that. Right? So we're talking about this is one day that we just went over. This is a period of 1,000 years to us. Right? 1,000 years. Prove it out the Bible. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8.
This is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing. That one day. That one day.
Read on.
Is with the Adawan as 1,000 years.
1,000 years, man. We're not on the same type of time the Most High on.
Right.
He's on a totally different time schedule than us. Right. It was nothing for him. Right. He said 400 years to us. We like, man, that's a long time. Right. He said, look, man, that ain't nothing. Right. All right. To me, that ain't nothing. Right.
And 1,000 years as 1 day.
1,000 years as 1 day. All right. So let's get that. All right. Everybody understand? 1,000 years.
All right. So now we're going into the second day, which will be the 2000th year, right?
First day and second Ezra?
Let me see that. I was looking for it. Yeah. Second Ezra.
Second Ezra chapter 6, verse
35. 6 verse 1. Down verse 4. It talks about the angels being created before, angels being created before the creation.
All right. Let's read on Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 39.
This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 6, verse 39, in the red book, right?
So, the Apocrypha. Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 39.
The book of Second Ezra, chapter 6, verse 39.
Right.
And then was the Spirit, and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed.
The sound of man wasn't made just yet. Read on.
Then commandest thou a fair light to come forth out of thy treasure,
right?
That thy work might appear.
That thy work might appear. So he's just going over what happened on that first day, right? He's just giving the understanding, giving you the sense of what happened on that first day. He's summing it up. He's summarizing. Right, so we can drop this. Let's read what happened on this. Let's go into the second day. Keep reading on that.
Okay, upon the second day, thou madest the spirit of the firmament.
Right, the spirit of the firmament. Read on.
And commandest it to part asunder and to make a division between the waters. That the one part might go up. And the other remain beneath.
And one is beneath. So you got water above us and water below us. It's clear cut. Right? So when you talk about man going past the it's not true. Right? They might could go high, but there's a certain part. They got something, science calls it the Van Der Belt. You can't get past it. Right? That's what science, you go on YouTube and look this up. If they shoot a missile all the way up, that missile gets stuck and it has to come back down.
Yeah, look up right? Operation Fishbowl.
Right? Operation Fishbowl. Right. Heard of that. Right? These things have been proven by the Bible. Right? This is not far-fetched. Yeah, they did not go to the moon. That's what you was about to say? They did not go to the moon.
And the earth itself.
The captain brought out, he blew my mind with this, right? When you look at, if the moon is, like, everybody sees a light bulb, right? What happens when you touch a light bulb? It's hot. Now, you look at the moon. That's supposed to be illuminated by the sun, according to science, right? You're telling me these white boys was walking on the moon and they was not getting burned up?
Listen, and anything that you could see in the sky, and we could see it from that far, it has to be hot.
Right.
Everything that you see in the sky, anything that gives off any type of light, it creates heat. If you look up how hot the moon is, it is above, I think it's above boiling point. And you're telling me men step foot on these things. After like 150 degrees, men start getting into a frenzy. Right? We can't go past a certain temperature. So they saying they were on this moon for 20 hours or so, right, and nobody got burned up. It's a lie. It's a lie. All of these things are lies. Exactly.
All right. Another thing too, I was going to ask you, like, visualizing this on the second day that we made the spirit of the firmament. So I'm visualizing making the spirit of the firmament, and the firmament is actually like separating itself from humanity to create the heavens above the earth. Kind of visualize it like that. Right. Spirit, like being manifested physically.
Right.
We're all spirit, but we're in this body.
Right.
That's beyond our comprehension. Right? That's one of those things. We got to take it for what it is and say, look, man, I get the spirit of the firmament. It was created. I know it's water above this thing, and I know it's water beneath. Period. Right? Well, from what the scriptures say, this is what it's saying. It's here and here. How that actually, we know that the angels had something to do with it, obviously. We know that his words had something to do with it, obviously. Right? But these are the things that we know for a fact. There's water here, and there's a dome around this thing. Read on.
No,
you can go back. I think that was the second.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse. Verse 8. And Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
All right, so you got the first heaven right here. Read on.
And Elohim said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place.
Right.
And let the dry land appear, and it was so.
So everything in this dome at one point was all water.
Done.
Everything was all water. Then he said what? Read that again.
And let the dry land appear.
And let the dry land appear. Read on.
And it was so.
And it was so. Keep reading.
And Elohim called the dry land earth.
What did he call it?
Earth.
That's earth. We're standing on earth right now. Right? We're standing on earth right now. So what is the water? It's the sea. Right? The water is not considered the earth.
It's crazy. I know you always say this too, how the waters don't ever come over the land.
Like
it
just stays right there.
But it's deep and all the way down.
There's a priest
it don't move. I think is it Sirach or second Ezra?
Yeah, I think
the waters.
I think I know. I think there's one in Jeremiah too. Look at that right there.
Like how he can just say, "Listen, man, the water gonna stop right here."
Right.
That's magnificent. I don't think we gotta get it.
Okay, come on.
Unless you got it right now.
It's on Proverbs 8:29.
Come on. Get that real quick. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 29. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 29. When he gave to the sea his decree that the water should not pass his commandment.
Right.
When he appointed the foundations of the earth.
Right, that's cold cut. Right. The Most High gave the commandment. Right, that it will not pass through. Right, it will not go over that land. Right. I see this one video talk about natural water and salt water. Right. And it's just split between the sea.
It doesn't go past.
Yeah,
that doesn't go past.
Come on, that's not something that science can explain.
Right.
Right.
Let's get it. Verse 11.
And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, and the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself.
That's magnificent in itself. You got the fruit trees that give seed, and another tree come from that. Read on.
Whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so.
Right.
And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. So now what day are we going into now? We're going into the fourth day.
Right, that's what happened on the third day. Let's get 2 Ezra chapter 6. Let's just sum it up. What happened on that third day?
2 Ezra 6, verse 42. Upon the third day, thou didst command that the water should be gathered in the seventh part of the earth. 6 parts hast thou dried up and kept them, to the intent that of these some being planted of God and tilled might serve.
Right, so he's giving you understanding what these things were used for that God was creating. He was creating this stuff for the food, so it can be tilled by man on this earth. Read on.
Verse 43. For as soon as thy word went forth, the work was made.
The work was made. God said, hey, let it be done. And it came about just like that. Right? Remember the word that the Most High speaks, what is that called? What is the word called in the scriptures? What is the word?
Spirit.
The spirit. Right? You can create spirit. That's why when we go out on the street, listen, we create spirits by the words we speak. That's why what you say, we talk about the power of the tongue, right? The things that you speak can create chaos, man. You can lose your life by saying the wrong thing. Because what? You just created a spirit. You create storm. You put that in the air. When you read Psalms, you calling on the angels, man. Right? You calling on certain things to happen by just what you're saying. Right? What you got?
Look at reference today.
Right. It causes it's a spirit. Right. People take for granted how powerful words are. You know, when we were younger, what did they say? Sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But the words actually do hurt you. Words can bring you down. You can destroy a person's life by just the words you say. Right? Look at Bill Cosby. They got no proof what happened to Bill Cosby, but look what happened to him. He sat down in that prison cell, didn't he? Because of what? Something someone said. Right, but that's a whole nother topic. I don't want to get into it. Right? On second address? Verse 44.
Verse 44. For immediately there was great and innumerable fruit, and many and diverse pleasures for the taste.
Right, it was diverse, man. Read on.
And the flowers of unchangeable color.
So imagine, this is a beautiful thing that the Most High created, right? You got the lilies, you got the sunflowers, you got the roses. All of these things were created. Read on.
And odors of wonderful smell.
Wonderful smell, man. You got the scent that he created off of these things. Read on.
And this was done the third day.
On the third day, these things happened. So let's get what happened on the fourth day. Let's
read. Where we at? Verse
11. 14. Go ahead.
Gone. And Elohim said, "Let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years."
So remember what I said. Before the sun, the moon, and the stars were created, he already created light and darkness. Now he's creating something else to put in the sky. Right? Read on.
Come. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so.
Right, so these things he created them to give lights in the earth. Read on.
Khan. And Elohim made two great lights.
He made two great lights. Read on.
The greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night.
So he made these lights to rule during the day and the night. You got the stars and the moon that rule the night, and then you have the sun by itself, which rules the day. Right? That doesn't mean that the sun is the only thing giving off light. It's just called another light that Most High created. Right? To give you an example of what? The seasons, the signs. Right? When we look at the things in the sky, we shall know what time of day we in. Right? Read on.
I gotta add a precept on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to Psalms 136. So let's read I'm gonna read verse 16 again. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So let's see what that's talking about. Let's go to Psalms 136, verse 7. Right? Psalms 136, verse 7.
Let's do that. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 136, and verse 7. To him that made great light, for his mercy endureth forever.
Right?
The sun to rule by day.
The sun to rule by day, right?
For his mercy endureth forever. The moon and stars to rule by night. And for his mercy endureth forever.
Right, so it's straight up and down, right? So those lights out there was the sun and the stars and the moon. Right? So let's go back to verse 16.
Done.
Right?
Verse 16. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth,
right?
And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good.
So we already understand that there was already light outside before the sun was there. There was already darkness outside before the moon was there. We understand that, right? Right? It was already there. You just kind of placed it there, right? That's why we're gonna get a whiteboard soon. Right, so we could just visually give a demonstration of that. Where we at?
Verse 19.
I'll read it. I got you. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
There were the fourth day. All right, so let's get that in the edges. Let's sum it up. What was going on here?
This book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 45. Say when you got it. All right. Upon the fourth day thou commandest that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order, and gavest them a charge to do service unto man.
Service unto man. It was made for man. Read on.
That was to be made.
Right? Read on. Is that it?
That's on
that. Right? So it says, upon the fourth day thou commandest the sun that it should shine, and the moon to give her light, and the stars should be in order, and gavest them a charge to do service unto man. Because we use these things, man. We use them to do what? To worship the Most High. Right? We know what time of month we in because we look at the moon. Right? We know what type of season we in because we're looking at the stars in the heavens. Right? What you got? 6 verse
that was 45.
All right? So let's get it.
Where we at? Verse
Genesis chapter 6 and verse 20.
So one is verse 1.
Oh, 1 and 20.
Good. And Elohim said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven.
In the open firmament of heaven. So you got birds in this first heaven, right? Read on.
And Elohim.
I gotta break this down. Read verse 20 again.
And Elohim said, let the waters
abundantly.
Abundantly means great, a great number, right? Read on.
The moving creature that has life.
So everything that was created, every creature that was created comes out of these waters, right? Read on.
And fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven.
It says, and the fowl, right? And the fowl that may fly above the earth. So these fowls come out of the water as well. Everything that was created comes out of this great water that the Most High had. Read on.
Con.
21.
Con. And Elohim created great whales, and every living creature that moveth,
right,
which the waters brought forth abundantly,
right,
after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind.
right.
And Elohim saw that it was good.
He looked at it, he said, man, this is beautiful.
Some good work right here.
Good work. Man.
Right.
This is good.
Con.
I created that.
Right. Con.
I did that.
Con.
22.
And Elohim blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth.
Right.
And the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Were the fifth day. Let's get that in second Ezra. Sum it up.
Come on, let's go to second Ezra chapter 6, verse 47. Say calm when you got it. Because we're going to say in second Ezra just a little bit more.
Right.
All right.
At least till everything was created.
Calm. Say calm when you got it. Second Ezra 6, verse 47. Upon the fifth day thou saidest unto the seventh part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fishes.
Fowls and fishes come out of this water. Read on.
And so it came to pass, for the dumb water and without life brought forth living things.
Without life, it brought forth living things. Only the Most High can do this, man. Read on.
At the commandment of the Adawan,
right,
that all people might praise thy wondrous work.
So we're going to look at these wells, these fishes, these fowls, and say, man, the Most High is real. Right? Read on.
Oh, second Ezra.
Yeah, 49.
Then didst thou ordain two living creatures, the one thou callest Enoch, and the other Leviathan.
We're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
Start at verse 53 when we get back. All right, so let's read on. Let's go back to Genesis 1 and verse 24.
Con. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things, the beasts of the earth after his kind, and it was so.
It was so. Read on.
And Elohim made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good.
That it was good, man. This is nice work. Read on.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
All right.
Let's pause right there. Right? Let's pause right there. What is that us referring to? Is that talking about Yahushua and Yahweh? Huh? Is this, I'll read it again. And God, let's read it in English. And God said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. Right? So who is this us talking about? The angels. Right? Because we understand that Elohim is plural. Right? So that us is dealing with the angels. Right? The sons of God. Right? Right? Because the angels are referred to as the sons of God. Right? Do I have to prove that? No? Good. You want something? You want to preach on that? Let's go to Job 38 and 1. All right. Yeah. I asked to prove it just because I'm going to prove it anyway. I'm just going to ask. All right. So let's go to Job.
Say prove all things. Because listen, I'm telling you, somebody's going to ask you these questions, and you're going to be like, man, we went over this in class, and I don't remember.
Right.
Right. You're going to say, I don't remember. So it's good that we go over this, man. Right. 38 and 1.
Let's go to Job 38, verse 38, verse 7. All right.
This is the book of Job, chapter 38 and verse 7. When the morning stars sang together.
Well, let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 4 so we can get the context.
Verse 4.
What it's talking about, right?
Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth?
Right. So this is talking about laying down the foundation of the earth, right? Keep going.
Declare if thou hast understanding.
Declare if thou hast understanding, right?
Who hath laid the measures thereof? If thou knowest. Who hath stretched the line upon it?
Right.
Whereupon the foundations thereof fastened?
Right.
Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God.
All the what?
All the sons of God shouted for joy.
So the sons of God that shouted for joy is dealing with the angels, right? When they saw that it was good, right? The sons of God is dealing with the angels. Now these sons of God clearly can't be talking about Yahushua, right? A bunch of Yahushua running around, right? The sons of God is dealing with the angels, with the spirits, right? The sons of God, right? Even when you go to Daniel 3 and 25, it talks about one like the son of God. Not talking about Yahushua, it's talking about the angels, right? All right? You got one? Job 1 and 6, right? Let's go there. Go to Job 1 and 6. All right? That's the spirit.
This is the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 6.
Right?
Now there was a day when the sons of God, the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
Right.
And Satan came also among them.
Right, so we understand that the sons of God is dealing with spirits, right? The sons of God. Now, just a quick tidbit, there are two sons of God in the Bible, right? There's the sons of God that are angels and the spirits, and then there's us that are the actual physical sons of God. You understand this, right? So I have to demonstrate that. Okay, Con, let's go back. Yeah, Con. So we understand that, right? All right. If anybody wants to speak for edification, it's just Luke 3 and 34 to 38 explains how through Adam we become the and then Jacob, and right, we become the son of God, right? So Luke 3 and 34 through 38. That will break down the sons of God, the physical sons of God, right? So let's go back to verse 26. So we understand that when it says "let us," that's dealing with the angels, right? The plural, right? The Elohim, right? So I'll read verse 26. And Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So Elohim created man in his own image, and the image of God created he him. Male and female created he him. Right. And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply."
That's the first commandment that he gave man. That's the first commandment that he gave man and woman. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." Right? Read on.
Son, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
So what is he saying? He's saying you have authority on this earth. You are the gods of the earth right now. You have the land, you have the fruits, you have the animals. You are the gods. You have dominion over everything that I have created. See, and you got to understand, God he wasn't being a selfish God when he did this. He said, not only am I going to I created these things, but he said, you know what? The things that I created, I'm going to give to you for dominion. I'm going to give you authority over the things that I created. Right? And we don't think about these things. Right? So read on. Now the creature got authority over us. Right.
Right. Son, verse 29. Verse 29. Yeah. And Elohim said, "Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat."
No, for smoking.
For meat.
No, for sniffing.
For meat.
No, for oil.
For meat.
For meat, man. But to eat. Right? When it says for meat, it's to eat. Right? As Israelites, we are not to be smoking in the street. Right? What you got? They don't read the script. Listen, these things, one of the things I forgot who I was talking to this about. Yes, I was thinking it was you. A lot of these, or my brother actually, a lot of these things, you've been on Clubhouse, right? A lot of these people that are starting to understand scripture, where do you think they're getting this stuff from? They're getting it from Hebrews, man. Right. They're not getting this stuff in the church. The church has never went over these things. When I was in the church, I know I never heard anything about this, man. A lot of these things are new to us when we come to the truth. You got brothers that have been out here 15, 20 years because what? They haven't been given the understanding. The things that we are receiving right now is truly from the Heavenly Father. He has opened the book now. Now we can see what's wrong and what's right. We can see our action. We can see our iniquity. So we can change and repent from our sin. Because the Christian church tell you they dwell in their sin, man. Right? They dwell right there in filthiness. They don't put no difference between the clean and unclean. But what it comes down to is the Spirit of the Lord dealing with them. It's the Spirit of the Lord in these churches. I say I say no. Right? You can see it. 1 John 4:1 say test the Spirit by the Spirit. If you test the spirit of the average Christian church, the Spirit of the Lord is not there. It's just that simple. All right? Done.
Verse 29. And Elohim said, "Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree, the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat.
For what?
For meat.
For meat, man.
And it was so. Right? The herb.
The herb.
The
not,
herb.
Not the smoke.
Right. The herb. Right? Dealing with the herb, right?
Listen, smoking is, I'm not going to get into that, but just for anybody tuning in for the first time, smoking is a heathenistic custom. We are not to take something from the ground, put it in some leaf, and then smoke it. That is not of the Most High, right? You got brothers out here that's teaching, look, man, you can smoke weed, right? Imagine somebody that's teaching a class, you at camp, and you high out of your mind, man, right? You just high. You bloodshot, and you're like, yeah, you can't speak right. That's off, man. It's not right, right? Sometimes you could just see logically just by the spirit. The spirit will tell you if something off. If it feel off, more than likely it's off, right? What you got? Yes. You can eat it. Done. Fine. You can eat it. From me. It's an herb, right? It's an herb, right? But now you got to be careful though, because I'm going to tell you this. Scriptures tell you to be sober-minded, right? We don't overdo that thing, because I know how Jake is. They like to find, they like to find tricks in the Bible, loopholes. Right? Yeah, that's us. That's our heritage. That's where we come from. Jacob is known for that, a trickster, right? He gonna find that loophole. He's like, all right, I can't smoke it. Let me dump all this in that pan and put it in the stove then, right? But you don't want to be overdoing that, man. You want to if that's something you're doing, make sure you're not abusing that. You're not abusing to be walking out of here, high, coming to class and you can't even talk right, because that happens. All right, that's not something you want to be doing, right? It's not expedient to do. It's not against the law, but it's not expedient to do, right? It's just like I always compare it to somebody like, drinking Windex is not against the law, right? You won't find that in the Bible, but is that expedient for you to do? Absolutely not. Logically, that tells you it's not good. It's wrong, right? Exactly. Use wisdom. It's just that simple. All right, so it's not technically it's not off. We got a couple of scriptures that can prove that. Listen, smoking that's against the Bible. But if you put in herbs in your food or whatever the case might be, and it make you feel some type of way, it's not off. But use your wisdom. That's what you got. Every green. I think that's it. If from arcade, so from like when you talk about spices, will be considered different from herbs, right? What's the can you go into the blue letter real quick? Yeah, go into the blue letter, right? Because that should be more specific. Like grains will be considered herb, things of that nature, right? Right. Now that's a good question. What am I looking up? The definition for herb. Herbage, grass, green plant. Right. That's the song. Yeah. Right. So I know, like, it's not saying that you can't, because later down the road you'll find out, like, spices and things we use this to season our food. That wouldn't be considered a herb. A herb is just specifically talking about, like cabbage, spinach, kale. These things are green. These things are made from the earth. Right?
Yeah, bananas are green.
What? No. Everything begins with the seed. Right. That's what comes down. Right. You could have kale. Kale has seeds, right? Spinach has seeds. All of these things. Fine. All that is a herb. These are herbs. Read that again. Right, son. What, Genesis 1? No, go about herb. Yeah. So the herbage, right? Grass, green plants. These are things that is edible that can be eaten. Now, we know we can't go out in here and eat the grass. We know that you're gonna get sick, right? It's certain herbs from over time that we should not be eating them. You're not gonna go to this tree and eat the leaves. Some leaves you can put in a tea, right? You use that and you take the medicinal properties from it and you drink that, eat it. All right. In the Hebrew, it's the word for herb in the Hebrew is aseb.
So I was going to say the word aseb, that word right there, aseb, it's giving you multiple definitions like herb, plant, all these different things. Yeah. But in the Hebrew, it just has one word, which is a seb. Right. So when we seen these plants and all these things on the field, we said, oh, that's a seb. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like all these different things. Yeah. Like when they seen the cabbage plant or when they seen the kale plant, they were all called the same thing.
Like even when you look at the Google definition in botany, it says any seed-bearing plant that does not have a woody system and woody stem and dies to the ground after flowering. Any plant with leaves, seeds, or flowers used for flavoring food, medicine, or perfume. So like anything that has to do with basically produce and agriculture.
Another thing too, like if it wasn't the study of botany, because botany is the study of plants, they would call it the study of a seb.
Right.
Right. So the study of a seb, you would have all these different plant names in the Hebrew.
Right. Right. Botany, the branch of biology that is the study of plants. Right. So
that help you out a little bit, sis? I mean, okay, Con. All right, Con, let's get it. Verse 31.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 31. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
All right, Con, let's go back to second edge. It's our last time going there, right? Let's go to second edge just real quick. Let's sum it up. I think it was verse 54, 55.
Con, you're right. Con, verse 53. Con, this book of second edge, chapter 6, and 53. Just say Con when you got it. Second edge, chapter 6, verse 53. Con, this book of second Ezra, chapter 6, verse 53. Upon the sixth day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. That's it on that.
It's funny that it goes into making. I just realized that it goes into the making of Adam, and then everybody after Adam in that sixth day. But we could go back to that later on, because I'm gonna prove to you that Adam, when you read when man and the woman was created, or Adam and Eve was created, Adam and Eve was not the only people on the earth. Right, he sets a clear distinction between Adam and Eve from the other people. All right, so let's get chapter 2.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
So how many years has it been since creating the earth? How long did it take God to create the earth? 7,000 years, right? Technically, it'll be 6,000 because the 7,000 he rested, but you're right. Read on.
And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made.
So remember, God created us in his image, in the likeness of him. We are something like God, right? We were made something to be something like him. So we are to follow what the Most High did. The Most High worked his tail off, right? For 6 days. On that seventh day, he said, you know what? It's time for me to take a break. This is a lot of work that I did. And we should follow the same example, because what? The Sabbath day allows you to rejuvenate yourself. It allows you to come to the Sabbath day, get your scriptures in, and you go back and deal with all this wickedness in the world. Right? So this is what that seventh day is made for. Read on.
These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, and the day that the Adawan made the earth and the heavens, and every plant of the field before was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Adawan had caused not it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground.
Read on.
But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground.
So this is the time he made it start raining. Right? Read on.
And the Adawan formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
He breathed the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Right?
You said that he made it start raining, but verse 5 says, had not caused it to rain upon the earth.
Right, so verse 6, what does it say?
It says,
but
he went up a mist from the earth. So it was a mist that was just constantly there that was watering the earth and giving water.
In verse 6?
Yeah.
So, hold on. Do this, bro. But the Lord has not caused it to rain upon us. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground.
So what is that talking about?
That water comes up and it comes down, right? In science, what do they call that?
Like talking about the dew. Like
that precipitation, right?
right? So that water comes up from the earth, and then what? It comes back down.
So that would be the difference between the rain and that mist, because you wouldn't be able to use the word rain, because rain was, he said he caused it not to rain, and then he has the mist that's coming up from the ground.
It says, but there went up a mist from the earth. What is a mist? What's that?
Oh no, that's not good.
Right?
Mist, I mean, like for instance, like you have like condensation, or you have you get fog. It also creates moisture. I think that's my interpretation of it would be that it's not actual rain coming down.
But remember the topic, the context here is it didn't rain yet.
Right.
It didn't rain yet. So read it again from verse 5. Read it again.
And every plant of the field before was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for the Adamon, Elohim, had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the earth.
At this point, he did not cause it to rain upon the earth. And then what does it say in verse 6?
But there went up a mist.
But read on.
There went up a mist from the earth.
Read on.
And watered the whole face of the ground.
And it watered the face of the ground. If you watering something, that means water is pouring onto the ground. Water. The water is coming down. The water has to come. If it goes up, it has to come back down. And I hate to bring up science, but science tells you that. Right? When you study like precipitation or evaporation, the whole cycle of rain, that rain comes up, it goes into the cloud, and it comes back down. So that's what it's referring to. The context here is that it didn't rain on the earth at that point. And then it says, but there went a mist from the earth. Right? This is what they call that evaporation. It evaporated where it went into the sky, and then what? It watered the earth.
So you're saying
this is the first time it started raining. It would never rain on the earth at this point.
This was the process of the
exact kind. Before it rained, kind.
So verse 6 is not the actual it raining. It's kind of like the process to start the rain.
Right. But there went up a mist from the earth, right? Goes up and it watered the whole face of the ground.
Every other translation says basically the same thing. All right, verse 7. And the Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
And what do we call life according to the scripture? Commandments, right? Because remember, I'm not gonna blow the story, but keep reading.
Son, and the Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
Now, this specific man that he took, and he put that man in the middle of Eden, right? Read on.
And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge and of evil.
Now, this is similar to what it's talking about. Tree of life also in the middle of the garden, and the tree of knowledge for good and for evil. Read on.
And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The name of the first Pison, the which compasses the whole land of Havilah, which compasses the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Right? And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river of Euphrates.
So this is a large map that we're talking about. I wish we had that projector. We're going to get that soon, Lord willing. But this is a large body of land that we're talking about here. All right. So you got from Assyria, from the east of Assyria, to the whole land of Ethiopia. Read on.
And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
So he created this man. Now he's tilling the earth. He's dressing the land. He's keeping it up. He's being that farmer, right? Read on.
And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat.
Every tree in this garden that I gave you, you can eat of it, right? Read on.
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it.
Thou shalt not eat of it. Read on.
For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
Right. So what is it talking about here? Right. This tree of life, this tree of evil. What does a tree represent in the scripture? People, right? What's the precept for that? That's a good one. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 31. This also proves that Adam and Eve were the only people that were made at the time. Right? And we're going to prove that. See, a lot of times when people read these things back in the day, man, they just skipped over a lot of stuff, man. They read it and they just took it for what it was. Face value. You can't take scriptures as face value sometimes. You got to break this stuff down. Start at verse. Start at verse 3.
This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon, right, with fair branches.
So we know that this land was near that land of Assyria. Because remember, Abraham was called an Assyrian too. They refer to Abraham as the Assyrian. Right? Read on.
And with a shadowing shrewd, and of an high stature, and his top was among the thick boughs.
His top was among the thick boughs. Let's see what it's talking about. Keep reading.
The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running round about his plants, and sent out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field.
Right, sent out his little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Read on.
Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field.
So we know that this tree is talking about a man. This tree is referring to Adam right here. He made his tree above all the other trees that are in the land. Right, read on.
And his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters when he shot forth.
Right, he had his children, they went out. Read on.
All the fowls of heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwelt all great nations.
Under his shadow dwelt all great nations. Let's get 2 Nehemiah chapter 6 and verse 54. Let's see what that's talking about. Under his shadow dwelt all great nations. You can't be under one tree, right? All the great nations, you can't sit them under one tree. So what is that talking about? This tree is referring to a man. So let's get 2 Nehemiah 6 and 54. Let's see what that says.
The book of 2 Nehemiah chapter 6 verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures.
He made Adam Lord of all thy creatures, right? This is why his boughs were thick. He was the greatest. He was the highest tree of them all. Read on.
Of him come we all.
Of him come what?
Of him come we all.
And this is what that's talking to when it says, under his shadow dwell all great nations. We all come from Adam, right? Everybody understand that, right?
And right, the people who thou hast chosen.
And the people that he chose. You can drop it, all right? Let's go back. Let's go back. Ezekiel 31, start at verse 7 now.
Thus he was fair in his greatness.
He was fair in his greatness.
And the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters.
Right, keep reading.
The cedars in the green garden of God could not hide him.
And other people could not hide him that were in this garden. Read on.
The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches.
So we know that Adam was made different from everybody else that was on earth at this point. Read on.
Nor any tree in the garden of Elohim was like unto him in his beauty.
Every tree, no tree was like Adam, right? He made Adam and Eve different from the people that were already on this earth, right? Keep reading.
I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God envied him.
How does a tree envy another tree?
Right. That's beautiful, man.
You can't be a tree envying another tree. Right? They don't got sense like that. Right. A tree. Right. Keep reading on that.
I have therefore delivered him into the hand of the mighty one of the heathen. He shall surely deal with him. I have driven him out for his wickedness.
You drop that, right? So let's go back. So we know that these was talking about Adam, right? So it refers to Adam being compared to as a tree. The other nations were trees, but he was made a different tree, right? Very simple.
I want to get that piece of banana. Mark 8 and 24.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's go to Mark 8 and 24.
All right.
Let's get that right quick. Mark 8 and 24.
Mike, what time is it?
We got a 2 and 2.
Okay, we good.
All right. Mark
8 and what?
8 and 24.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 8 and verse 24. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees.
As what?
As trees.
I see men as trees, right? Right? As simple as that. Right?
Very simple. Right? So when it refers to trees, sometimes sometimes mountains, for to nations, right? The Most High uses similitude in the Bible. We compares it to something, right? When we talk about parables, the natural person without a spiritual eye, he'll read that and be like, what the heck is going on here?
Right. He saw a branch, it's like walking.
Right. It's a tree walking. What is he talking about? Right. No, that's what it is. But you have to have a spiritual eye to read the Bible. All right, so let's jump back. Let's get it. Colossians Chapter 2 and verse 15. Yeah, 15.
And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Adawan commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thou shalt surely die.
Right, so certain trees you could do it, certain trees you can't. Right, read on.
And the Adawan said, it is not good that man should be alone.
Right.
I will make him an helpmeet for him.
I'll make a helpmeet at this point. Read on.
And out of the ground the Adawan formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and he brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Right, so he gave Adam the opportunity to name every animal that is on this earth. He's making Adam into a god at this point, man. Read on.
And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found an helpmeet for him.
Right, but Adam still didn't have that help, man. Something missing. What's missing? What do we need? Keep reading.
And the Adawan caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam.
Right.
And he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Adawan had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man.
Made him a woman, man. Because what? Adam was still alone. He needed that woman. Right, read on.
And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man.
Right, read.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife.
No, he shall cleave unto his husband.
And he shall cleave unto his wife.
A woman shall cleave unto a woman.
He shall cleave unto his Isha.
A man and a woman shall cleave together when they leave their parents. It's just that simple. No man on man action. No woman on woman action.
That's right.
No, I'm going to marry my dog.
Bring that up.
Right? I'm going to marry this tree.
Right.
But a man shall cleave to his wife. A wife shall cleave to her husband.
You got people nowadays married themselves?
That's how it shall go.
They married themselves.
They come over the bathroom.
If people marry themselves nowadays.
Right. You marry yourself. Right. You're going the hell off. All right. What you got?
And they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
What does it mean to be naked?
Bring that out. I know you got it.
Oh, to be naked. Oh, that means like you don't know like any type of evil or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of like a child that's running around naked. And you think it's all good.
So is that literal? Is that a literal naked?
What you got? What you got? Oh, look at you. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get that.
All praises. Job 31, verse 33.
The book of Job, chapter 31, verse 33. If I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding mine iniquity in my bosom.
Covering his transgression. That nakedness is a representation of what? Sin. Anytime you refer to nakedness in the scripture, it's referred to as sin. Their shame, revealing the shame. Right? So when we talk about like for example, America or Babylon, it says what? It says, I'm gonna lift up thy skirts, man.
Right.
Right? I'm gonna show your nakedness to everybody. Everybody's you're gonna be revealed to everyone. Meaning what? All of your transgressions and your sins are gonna be made known unto you. And the people that are around you. Right? So now he's receiving what? He's knowing that he has some type of transgressions and now he's trying to cover it. Because what? He became knowledgeable of what's good and what's evil. Right? And let's see what the scriptures say.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, come on.
Let's get Isaiah 47, verse 3. All right, Isaiah 47, verse 3. All right, dealing with that nakedness and that shame. All right.
Isaiah 47 and verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Thy what?
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Right.
Yea, thy shame shall be seen.
Uh-huh.
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
Right, so that nakedness is talking about the shame. Right? Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Right.
Right? Let's keep going on that.
We'll look at it. Where we at?
Genesis 3 verse 1.
I was gonna say one thing too, like you know how Esau they like renamed all the animals, you know what I'm saying, and all the different styles of hair. I think that's like Adam named all the animals already.
Right,
and
God.
He renamed it for himself.
He wants to be Adam himself.
I'll look at that.
The book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the one Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, has Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Right.
And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die.
Right, so a serpent came to beguile her, man. He said, Nah, man, don't worry about it. You're not going to die. Read on.
For Elohim doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So let's talk about this. All right, let's talk about this. So remember, Adam already had dominion. This is why you got to think about why the serpent went to this woman. Right? What was the woman created for? To be Adam's what? It's help me. Right? Adam already had dominion over everything that was created. So the serpent goes to this woman. He says, Look, man, you're not going to die, but surely you're going to be as a god. Because what? She didn't have dominion over everything like that. Right? She was created to be that help. So he's using this as a selling point. It's his sales pitch right now. He's saying, Look, man, you're going to be as a god. Eat the fruit. Right? But we know that this shouldn't have been done. Because the Most High told us what to eat and what not to. But let's continue to push down.
No, I was just going to talk about precepts for that serpent not being actual thing.
Fine, we can get that.
Job 26:13.
26:13. What you got? Let's see your hand. Fine. Right. No, this is what when it's talking about these trees. This is talking about philosophies and doctrines, right? So think about this. Remember what were the trees called in the garden? Like what do they name the trees as? Like we just went over that in Ezekiel. What do we consider trees? People, right? So this has to be there's other people in this area where they're in. It's certain people they're allowed to deal with, certain people they're not allowed to deal with, right? So she said a serpent came to her and what? A subtle certain serpent came to her and beguiled her, right? What's that scripture you pulled?
Job 26.
Come on, let's get that. Because this serpent was a person. He's promising, he's showing her different things that she hasn't been taught. They weren't supposed to know these things, right? Read what you got.
The book of Job, chapter 26, verse 13. By his spirit he garnished the heavens. His hand has formed the crooked serpent.
His hand what?
Has formed the crooked serpent.
The crooked serpent. Meaning what? He's not an upright person. This is not upright. Right? These are things we shouldn't. He's telling her something that is against what God commanded us to do. Right? So remember, we're in it. This is not a snake talking to her. This is not a snake, I'm walking around. No, it's comparing it to a snake because what? Snakes are slithering, right? They're smooth, right? They're hissing, all right? You don't hear them when they come in, and then they just bite you, right? They're poison, right? So we know that these trees that it's referring to, this is talking about people that were in the midst of the garden. It's not an actual tree that they took the apple and bit it. That's not what it's talking about.
This book of Psalms, chapter 140, verse.
Got some more? Okay,
This book of Psalms, chapter 140, verse 3. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent.
Say that again.
They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent.
They sharpen their tongues like a serpent because what? A serpent is smooth with it, right? You ever hear like, man, don't mess with him, man. He's a snake.
Right.
Right? That's a spiritual. That's a spiritual thing. He Let's look at that. Matthew 10 and 16. Right? I ain't messing with that girl, man. She give me a snake vibe, man. Right? Because what? It's like you got other alternatives, what's the word I'm looking for? Agendas, right? You got other things going on behind what you're saying. Right? You don't mean what you say. You're being snaky. All right, let's look at that.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep and wolves in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents.
Wise as what?
Wise as serpents.
So it's showing you that the serpent is wise. Remember, when we talk about Esau, right? Not to go off on a tangent. When we talk about Esau, we know that Esau was a wise man. They searched out things that Jake didn't even dare to search out, right? So it's not that they're dumb or whatever the case might be. These are wise people. It's just not according to the Most High, right? They're doing things that were against what God commanded them, right? What you got?
I was going to say too, the 12 tribes of Israel are likened to different structures or animals as well.
Son, that's true. He compares us to different animals, right? Just like the tribe of Benjamin or the tribe of Judah, right? These things he compares us to animals. He gives us those certain characteristics. He's showing you that this characteristic that this person had was like a serpent, like a snake, right? Let's go back.
Very appreciate that.
All right. Chapter 3 and verse. Was that 10? Or
it was 3 verses, but verse 2. Oh, actually, no, it was
further than that.
Verse 6.
Yeah, okay,
and when the woman saw that the tree was, Genesis 3, verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat. And he gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Right, so Adam went off, man, because Adam was told to do this by the Most High, and what? He listened to his rib, right? And this was contrary to the laws of the Most High. What you got?
Another thing too, that like as far as like eating something and making you wiser, going to a tree is making you wise. Like I don't eat a grape or an apple,
right?
And then I'm like, I know calculus.
Right. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. So you know that these things are using similar to. This is a representation of something deeper. It's not just a tree. He's giving you these things in similitude so you can understand. You gotta put it together. Right, the tree was pleasant to the eyes, right? This look like it's gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? All right.
The scriptures speak on us having to eat the whole roll.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Eating the scriptures, right?
Verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord, of the Adonai, Elohim, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And verse 8. And they heard the voice of walking in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. Yes. So they knew that at this point they know that they're in transgression. How do you know that you're in transgression if you never received the good or the difference between good and evil? Because remember, I don't know if they said it just yet. I think we're gonna get to it. When it says that now they know that they have become gods like unto us because the gods knew, or the angels knew between good and evil. Adam and Eve didn't know the difference between good and evil.
That's in verse 5.
Right, son. Let's look at that real quick.
Oh, you're talking about where most high angels said it. I was talking about when the serpent told him.
No. It's the angel, right? We're gonna get to it, son. We'll get to it. I got you. Yeah, keep reading.
Son. Verse 8?
Yeah.
Verse 9, plus. And the Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked and I hid. Right? And I hid myself.
So how did look what the Most High asked him after he said this. Read on.
And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked?
How you know you were naked, man? How you know between good and evil right now? Who told you that? I didn't tell you that. Right? Read on.
Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?
Didn't I tell you to stay away from that, man? Right? Now you put yourself in a position. Right? Read on.
And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and did I eat.
Right? Read.
And the other one.
So what did Adam? The first thing Adam did said, "Whoa, wait! Come on, man! You gave me this woman,
right,
man." He said, that woman that you gave me told me to eat the apple, or not the apple. He told me to eat from the tree of life, man, or the tree of good and evil. Right? What you got? No, I got you. This is symbolic of shame, sin. Remember that naked. No, hold on. Let's go back to it. Read verse. Go back. Jump to verse 10.
Verse 10 comes.
Yeah.
And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked.
I was naked. Now let's go. Hold that. Go back to Job 31 and 33. Remember what Job said. Because Adam did something. He's gonna say he covered his what? All right. Let's see.
Job 31 verse 33. If I covered my transgression.
He covered his what?
His transgression.
To be naked is a transgression of the Lord. So the Lord is asking him, how do you know you in transgression? Why did you cover yourself up? Why did you cover yourself up? How did you know that? Right? Because nakedness equals what? It's that shame. It's that sin. So he knew that he was sinning, so he did what? He said, you know what? Let me make myself some figs or aprons, the tree. Right? Let me put the aprons on. So the Most High seen that. He said, how do you know you was in sin? Right? He said, listen, man, that woman told me that. That woman you gave me, she let me know. Because what? Now you ate from that tree of good and evil. Right? Does that make more sense?
We can't take that apron too literal.
Right, yeah, I think that's what's holding you up. Oh, man, my Bible falling apart. No, that's a good point. We can't take that too little. Right? Remember, all of these things that we're reading is similar to for something. Whether that was a sin that, whatever that sin was, whether it be actual nakedness, because being naked around people, that's a sin. Nakedness is a representation of sin. Remember, I don't want to go on off the tangent. Now, because I remember it's in Sirach where it talks about, the reason why a house is given to man is to cover up his shame. Shame is a representation of sin. So this is what it's talking about for Adam. In Job 31 and 33, it says, as Adam covered up his transgression, sin, he covered himself up. Right? Does that make sense? I feel like. He said what? No, he didn't build a house. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is naked. The word naked in the scriptures is representation of sin. God seen him and he said, what's going on? He said, who told you to cover yourself up? He said, the woman that you gave me told me that I was in sin. Does that make sense? Let's go back.
I got a different comparative translations are really good because it gives you more, it kind of explains it a little bit better, right? So another translation, I guess I'll look at this one right here. Job 31 and 33 in the New American Standard Bible. It says, I have covered my wrongdoings like a man by hiding my guilt in my shirt pocket. Right? It's kind of like, did I help you at all?
Who told you was doing wrong?
It's like you're kind of It's
who told you the difference between good and evil? They didn't know. Right? So if he came back and he covered himself up, he's saying, who told you that was bad for you to be doing that? Right?
I was gonna say the Most High commanded them not to go to that tree of good and not to eat of that tree. Go to those people and get the wisdom knowledge that they had.
Exactly.
So they went and got the wisdom and knowledge from them.
And they brought it
back. Now the Most High sent his angel, and the angel's looking for them, and they're covering their transgressions now. They're covering their shame instead of confessing.
Right. It's kind of like, just imagine, like, let's say you got caught eating a bacon double cheeseburger, right? You're kind of like trying to wipe your face off, like you don't want nobody to see, right? That's kind of like what they're doing. They're trying to hide it, right? You know what I'm saying? That's really what they're going into. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Does that help a little bit more, sis? I know it's a little.
I know the apron. I know that kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Genesis. It's a meaty breakdown. I'm telling you, it's a lot of meat in Genesis. That's why it's taking us so long to go over it. All right, so let's jump back.
So I want to read verse 10 again. mind you, with the understanding of Isaiah 47:3, right? It says that thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. So we understand nakedness is talking about your shame. So in Genesis 3:10, it says, and he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. Why was he naked? Because he was ashamed. Right? So that's what that's going into. Right. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, we read that. That's clear cut right there. It has to be the transgression. That nakedness has to represent transgression. Right? So the Most High asked him, how you know you're in transgression? I didn't tell you that. So you got that from somebody else. Because it can't, you're not going to, just like you say, we're not going to eat a fruit, a peanut off a tree or something, and then, oh, hey, I know something that I never knew before. Right. That's not real. And I think to deal with that, where it says that, and they sewed the fig leaf together, that's just basically a representation of them covering their shame, trying to hide themselves, but not literally sewing twig leaves together. That's just, like you said, what is symbolic of? Them trying to cover their nakedness, which is their shame. You see what I'm saying? That's all that's dealing with. Right?
They were afraid, too.
They were afraid, right? Exactly. They're trying to cover their nakedness, which is their shame, right? Just like a child, right? Let's get it. All praises, right? Where were we here? Genesis chapter 3, verse start at verse 12. Verse 12? Okay, yeah. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the other ones, and the Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So now you see, everybody just avoiding accountability right now. Right? I do it. Adam blaming the Most High, right? The woman blaming the serpent. Yeah,
I had to believe the angel was actually angry right here. They was just scared.
And the Elohim said unto the, verse 14, and the Elohim said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and that woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Right. So we know that this serpent has to be talking about a man, because it says what? It says, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. So this has to be talking about a specific person. Read on. It shall bruise thy head, and shall bruise his heel. Right. So it's going to be what? It's going to be hard for you to bear. Right. You're going to have enmity between y'all two. You're going to be cursed above all the cattle. Right. Read on. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Now he's giving judgment to the woman. Read on. And thy conception. Right. Read on. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. So this is a curse. If you look at it, this is a curse and a blessing at the same time. Right. We have life, but that's a curse, man, because you got to go through all that pain. Right. I know I'm not trying to have no children. I commend women for that. Right. Carrying a whole nother human being in your body for 9 months, I would be angry too. I would be upset. Gone. And thy desire, in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And thy desire shall be to thy husband. No, to thyself. To thy husband. That woman's supposed, her desire is supposed to be to her husband. Read on. And he shall rule over thee. This is what God created from the very beginning, man. Right? For his husband to rule over his woman, to give proper guidance, proper correction, to lead her down the right way. Right? Nowadays we've gotten away from these things. Right? You know, they say, I don't need no man. Or a man say, I'm gonna be solo dolo. Right? That's not how God intended us to be. Right? He created man and woman to cleave unto each other after they leave their parents. And this is the order. He's setting this up from the very beginning, that man shall rule over his woman. Because if you see what Adam just did, Adam went off because of his woman. Right? Not to blame anybody. Adam should have knew better. Right? Because God told both of them don't do that. But Adam, right, he followed his woman. Right? This is why you're supposed to have rule over your woman. Right? Read on. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. What does this mean? Let's see. Keep reading. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, And thou shalt eat the herb of the field.
Right? So when you till in the ground, you're going to have all type of thorns and thistles that you got to take out of it. Read on.
And in the sweat of thy face,
I love this precept right
shalt thou eat bread.
In the sweat of thy face, thou
shalt, in the sweat of thy face, shalt thou eat bread.
So to all my men, my brothers, you got to get out here and hustle. To eat out here, you're going to have to hustle. You're going to have some sweat in your face. Right? You can't be a soldier out here. I'm tired.
Right.
I'm tired. Right. You only working 5 hours a week. Come on, man. What we doing? Especially you soldiers, man. Right? Everybody online. Right? In the sweat of thy face, thou shalt eat. You don't sweat? Guess what? You not eating. You not eating. Right? It's gonna be hard. It's gonna have to be a hustle out here for you to eat. This is what God commanded us as men on this earth to do. In the sweat of thy face, thou shalt eat bread. Read on.
Till thou return unto the ground.
Till what?
Till thou return unto the ground.
I'm going to chill when I'm 30.
Till thou return unto the ground.
Chill when I'm 45.
Till thou return unto the ground.
When you go back into that ground, you're going to be working for something, man. Right? You're going to be working out here. Right? I hate to tell you, you're going to be working. So stack your bread while you're young. Make it work for you. You know?
For out of it was thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
We know that we shall return to the dust one day. And where does our spirit go when our bodies return to the dust? Back to the Most High. So we dwell with the Most High when we die. All right, read on.
And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living.
Right.
Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Elohim make coats of skin and clothe them. Hold on. I thought they were already clothed in verse 7. Right. So that shows you that this is their physical clothing. Right. Con. So verse cons. Where we at?
Verse 22.
Con. And the Adawan said, behold, the man has become as one of us.
Now look what the Most High said, or Elohim said. He said, whoa, wait. Behold, the man has become as one of us.
Con.
Read on.
To know good and evil.
Now you know good and evil. You know the difference between right and wrong. Read on.
And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever.
Because he didn't take from the tree of life to eat and live forever. He took from the tree of good and evil. Right? The Most High gave him two choices. And he chose to eat from the tree of good and evil. Read on.
Therefore the Adawan, the Elohim, sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken.
Right.
So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life.
Keep the tree of life, to keep it protected. Right?
Okay, come on.
Read on.
Verse 4, and Adam knew his wife, and she conceived.
He knew his wife. What does it mean to know your wife? They got intimate with each other, right? They laid down, and then she did what?
And she conceived.
Read on.
And bare Cain.
She bare who?
And bare Cain.
She had a child. Keep reading.
And said, I have gotten a man from the Elohim. And she again bare his brother Abel.
Right.
And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Now let's look at the characteristics between Abel and Cain, because who does this story match up with? He's Jacob and Esau, right? It's showing you that Cain and Abel are two manner of people. They have two different type of characteristics, right? So it says, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. He was outside, man. He was doing that rough work. But, Abel, he's taking care of the sheep, man. Right? Read on.
And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Adawan had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
So how does Abel and Cain know how to sacrifice? Where the heck they got that from? Right? They know the tree of good and evil. They heard that this is what you're supposed to do good. Right? So this is where they got that from. So he's saying that he gave him the firstling. What is the firstling? The first fruit. Right? The firstborn. Right? Read on.
Con. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
Right?
And Cain was very wroth.
Cain was angry.
And his countenance fell.
Right? Keep reading.
And the Adawan said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted?
Right. If you do well, shall thou not be accepted? Shouldn't you be accepted of the Lord too? Read on.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
Sin lieth at the door, meaning what? You have no good coming to you. Read on.
And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
Right, keep reading.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother.
Right.
And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
So he hated Abel because the Most High had favor for Abel. Right? This is similar to what Esau and Jacob was going through. Right? This is why Esau is mad at Jacob till this day.
Right.
Because of what? The Most High had favor for us. Read on.
Gone. And the Adawan said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
He said, whoa. He said, wait, am I my brother's keeper?
Right.
Off.
Right.
He said that. Read on.
And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
Right. So you look at the word vagabond. But you know, you hear a lot of our Levite brothers. What they call it, a vagabond.
Right.
So a vagabond, you a monster, man. Right? You a homeless man in the earth. You going to and fro in the earth. You have no real place to settle. You're gonna be like this forever. You are a cursed man in this earth. Read on.
And Cain said unto the Adawan, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid.
Right.
And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
Somebody that's on the run. Read on.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
Right, keep reading.
And the Elohim said unto him, therefore whatsoever slayeth Cain, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold.
Right.
And the Adawan set a mark upon Cain,
right,
lest any finding him should kill him.
Right. So you shall know who is Cain by that mark, the mark that Cain will have. Right. You know.
And Cain went out from the presence of the Adawan and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife.
Where the heck did Cain get a wife from?
Where did that?
If Adam and Eve are the only people on this earth,
technically we only got 4 people right now.
Right. Yeah, come on.
We only got 4 people right now.
Cain and Abel. Right. What you got, sis? I don't know if I want to.
Wait, what was the?
I don't know if I want to touch on that. Say that again. What was that mark for Cain? That's what they're saying. Because when they look at the representation of Abel and Cain, that's what that mark would be. So they say that Cain would be the first so-called white man on the earth, right? No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say because it says that anyone that sees me shall slay me. So they're gonna actually have to see him and see what he got going on, and he's gonna be slain. So it can be spiritual or it can be physical.
No, that's true. That's true.
That mark.
Right. So they would say that Cain, that mark of the skin would be, or the color of his skin would be that actual mark. Because what you just brought out, actually, we shall be able to look at him from afar off and say, that boy right there, he's the vagabond. Kill that boy. You got to slay him right now. You know what I'm saying?
Because everybody had melanin.
Exactly.
Most I said is just doing 70 minutes from the dust of the earth.
Right. No, come on. Yeah, so but Cain, it would be some type of distinction on his body, right? Whether that be white skin, light, whatever the case might be, it'd be some type of distinction. All right. Read on.
Verse 15. And the Adawan said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold.
Right.
And the Adawan set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Adawan and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden.
Right.
And Cain knew his wife.
So we know that there's other people on the earth because he found a wife, right? At this point, it's only Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel. So he found a wife from where? Obviously, it's other people on the earth. All right, read on.
And Adam knew, Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was Irad, and Irad begat Mehujael, And Mahujael begat Methusael, and Methusael begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives.
Right.
Where did his wives come from? Right. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as will intent, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah.
So look at, he's giving people talents in the earth. He's saying, look, man, you're gonna be you're gonna know how to make certain art. You're gonna know how to play the organ, the instrument. He's giving people certain talents. So that goes to show you that the Lord blesses certain people with different talents. All right, you know.
Gone. Verse 23.
Uh-huh.
And Lamech said unto his wives,